And in the first half, Nacho Noble looking pretty lively, and his layoff to Steve Lovell here, no relation to the man sitting alongside me, the less talented of the Lovell boys, and that just came off the outside of the post there. And Lovell again involved in another Dundee attack, this in the first half of the match, and this again for Noble. So Dundee looking lively early on after their journey back from Albania and that fine European result. But this was the goal just before half-time, a Scott Wilson free kick, and Lee Wilkie is making a disturbing habit of turning the ball past his own keeper. 2 of course against Rangers last year. Scored at the right end last week at Firhill, but you can't really defend this. This is poor defending, there's no doubt.
There's a real threat at both ends. Real big Lee, there's no doubt about that. That's an incredible finish. And
then into the second half then, and that's a close one there for Gavin Ray, not quite getting on to the end of it. And then just towards the end, Dunfermline already 1-0 up, and then the 1-2 here with Gary Dempsey, and Stevie Crawford tucks it away.
But this is the goal, a nice bit of interplay there, and Drilic has just pulled away. I think that Dunfermline should have stepped up actually out to the ball coming through, and they probably caught him offside. You can see here he's quite prominently forward as he gets it, but it's a good finish from the angle he's in. Then I think that an excellent goal. It's Craig Brewster at his best there, tremendous header. The cross isn't drilled, so he has to put all the power in the header himself, and he just slotted it away. And then a bit of a mix-up here. Terrible ball from kick out from David Peace. He could have got away with it obviously, but in the end Dunfermline got a hold of the ball.
It's been a nightmare week for Dundee, and they might have thought they were still dreaming after seeing the East End Park pre-match entertainment, but not even Merlin could come up with a spell for victory for them, although they had a lot to do with providing an entertaining and enthralling match. Julian Speroni was first up on stage, and he duly delivered some acrobatics, even though Craig Brewster physically heckled. Some well-earned applause there for Speroni, and some equally well-earned praise came from his opposite number just 2 minutes later, Fabrizio Ravanelli providing the supporting role. The first half also produced a disallowed goal for offside, a waved-away penalty claim for Dundee, and a near miss for Gary Dempsey. Barry Smith's outstretched leg kept the score at 0-0. Even Stevens at half-time then, but even Steven wasn't too happy about it. And thanks to a David Grondin cross and Craig Brewster dummy after 51 minutes, meant Steven made sure the score wasn't even any longer. A fantastic finish from Crawford, but there was better to come from him later. Dundee played like their very existence was at stake, and for some that could be a reality. A minute later they could have been back in the match if it wasn't for Derek Stilley. Stevie Crawford didn't start for Scotland in the last 2 matches, and he had a message for Bertie Vogts yesterday, and that message was, I'm still scoring goals. Number 2 bulleted home with his head. That's 9 goals so far for Crawford this season. It could have been 3 with 6 minutes left to play, but that really wouldn't give a true reflection of this game, so thankfully Julian Speroni did enough to keep Darren Young out. So the points stay at East End Park, even though the story is all about Dundee.
The Champions League's only wishful thinking outside the Old Firm, but Motherwell and Dunfermline did their best last night to show there's plenty of drama in the Premier League. The Pards were 2 goals up by half-time, Stevie Crawford scored a scrappy first, and there was some less than exemplary home defending again for the second, which fell in the end to Craig Brewster. But Motherwell were protecting an unbeaten run which stretched back 6 games and weren't giving that up lightly. Stephen Pearson got them back into contention before Stevie Hamill set up Martin Corrigan for the equaliser late into stoppage time.
They say that Dunfermline's new surface will come into its own as the winter deepens. It certainly received the thumbs up from Aberdeen in the first half. Dillamo's low skinning shot unsighted by Derek Stilley, and the Dons are off and running. Into the second half, and Aberdeen were taking to the synthetic surface like ducks to water. Drilic drills a fine pass for Booth, and the former Scotland striker shows some vintage for him. 2-0 the Dons. Aberdeen winning in the rain. But Dunfermline have their own affection for their new surface. Barry Nicholson, the architect of their opening goal. Derek Young, the executioner, with his first league goal for the club. Young, a former Aberdeen player, but not the kind of old boys reunion the Pittodrie club had in mind. That chipped away at the Aberdeen lead. This goal blew it away completely. Brewster with the layoff, Bullen with the bullet finish. It was yet another charge of Jimmy Calderwood's black and white brigade.
The two of you met at East End Park, so we're looking at that action at the moment. I guess you're looking for a bit of this to cut it back to 6 when everyone else is talking about 12.
Yeah, exactly. We're probably a little bit lucky that day, Rob. You know, Hearts played well. You know, everyone's complaining about the pitch, but Hearts played very well that day, and we got the breaks. The games are always very, very close, especially at East End Park. We've got a poor record at Tynecastle, but hopefully our home form can get us through.
Dundee United didn't fancy playing a cup tie on the East End Park synthetic surface. You're about to find out why. Take a lucky break of the ball, add 4 passes to take you the length of the park, and you've cooked up Dunfermline's opening goal. Mind you, the recipe for success had to include a tasty finish by Stevie Crawford. Now here's a guy who doesn't think that plastic is tragic. Meanwhile, Alan Archibald, if you're watching, look away now. This blunder set up Stevie Crawford again, and his presence in the United area was becoming a recurring nightmare for the Turned Ice side. By now he had turned into Stevie Wonderful for the Pars fans. But hope springs eternal for United. Some short, sharp passing and a dodgy cross created the opening. But there was venom and technique in the finish by Derek McInnes. Oh yes, and the deflection always helps. Ian McCall's side right back in the game. But they were finally nailed to the floor by a little touch of class, and it was contributed by a player who was once a Dundee United Cup final hero. Isn't life full of little ironies? Craig Brewster is a grand old man these days, but some things mature with age. Now this is class, oh yes. Not that United didn't battle or try to entertain. You can always count on Charlie Miller. Good bicycle kick. Shame he fell off the bike. One last chance for United, and Charlie Boy was at it again. A good run to the far post, and unlucky to hit it. But in the end, Dunfermline had turned plastic into gold again.
And just about everything. Take your eyes off it and you missed something. Thankfully for Kilmarnock, Greg Shields kept his eyes firmly on Barry Nicholson's goal-bound shot. But after that good bit of defending in the Kelly area came a mistake at the other end from Andrius Skerla. A handball from the Lithuanian under pressure from Colin Nish gave the home side a penalty. And 4 goals for the season quickly became 5 for Gary McSwiggan, with an expertly taken kick to put Kilmarnock 1-0 up at the break. In the second half we were treated to a marvellous exhibition of goalkeeping. Francois Dubordeau did well first of all from Scott Thompson's free kick, before Derek Stilley went one better with a superb double save to keep Dunfermline in the game. First Gordon Greer, then Colin Nish were kept out before Gary MacDonald put the rebound over. Terrific stuff though from the Pars keeper. And his heroics enabled Dunfermline to draw level a short while later when Stevie Crawford stooped to get on the end of Gary Mason's mishit shot. Kilmarnock thought he might have been offside, so did I actually, but he wasn't. The replay shows he was at least level with Greg Shields. So it's 15 goals now for the Scotland striker this season.